Welcome to our first module, which focuses on building a classroom and creating an effective physical environment. Before we begin this module, we'd like to explain a little bit about how these video lectures work. So what you'll have is you'll watch the video with many different experts. We'll talk about different aspects of creating an effective physical environment. And then along the bottom of the video viewing bar, you'll see some yellow lines. When a yellow line appears, you'll have an opportunity to either read some text or look at different video samples and different ideas. When you get to those points at the yellow line, a new tab will open up in your browser where you have the opportunity to look at new content, new videos. To go back to your place in the main video for the module, simply close the new tab that opened and you'll go back to the video where you were. So now in this first module, this is an interesting thing when you think about your first classroom. It's really important to think about how do you arrange the classroom so you can have access to materials, the students can have access to materials, and you can move around, and it really is set up to invite learning. It also needs to be safe for you and for your students. And you also want to think about having an environment that really promotes reflection and learning. So we hope that through this module and the examples, and then in the discussions that you'll have with your colleagues after this module, that you'll come up with some wonderful ideas to set up your classroom to have a safe physical environment. Enjoy!
Building an engaging learning environment is a critical factor in your success as a teacher. Make your classroom welcoming and create a familiar, comfortable feel for your students. Let your classroom show who your students are as people, as well as what they're learning. Establish a sense of student ownership. From the student's perspective, this can be a crucial factor towards promoting their learning. Create a classroom space that reflects learning achievements as well as goals. Current studies, engaging questions, brain teasers, word walls, and illustrations that reflect the content and represent diversity go a long way in promoting student achievement. Display student work as it reflects not only what students have learned, but also serves as a connection to future lessons. In this way, learning is both reflected and promoted through the effective use of classroom space. Make your classroom inviting and exciting. Students want to feel proud to be in your class, comfortable working there, and that both they and their work are valued and important. While some parts of the classroom environment can effectively be developed with the students, much of it needs to be carefully planned by the teacher before students get to the room. With planning and creativity, just about any space can become an engaging, effective learning environment. There are several successful ways to create an engaging environment in your classroom. Effective classrooms are organized, accessible, owned by students, safe, and reflective of student learning, content, and diversity.
At the elementary level, primary classrooms look different than upper grade classrooms, but the key elements are the same. An effective classroom is designed to be a safe place in which students feel ownership. No two classrooms are alike. They shouldn't be. A well-planned classroom reflects the personality and needs of its teacher and students. In order to achieve this, the teacher needs to be able to use all of the resources available to them in a way that addresses the types of learning that will be taking place in the classroom. First and foremost, in designing a classroom environment, safety needs to be addressed. This means access to materials and resources for both the teacher and students are well managed. Clearly identify different areas for learning. Design them to be accessible. Construct each area so as not to interfere with the access to other parts of the classroom. In designing an effective classroom, many teachers plan specific areas for different types of student activities. Set aside space for students to work individually, in small groups, and as a whole class. If limited space is an issue, areas can be used for multiple types of student interaction. Teach procedures to students for transforming the classroom for specific needs. From the student's perspective, perhaps the most important part of the classroom is that which reflects their ownership. Displaying student work on the walls not only enhances that feeling of ownership by students, but also is an effective way to promote student learning.
Since Stephanie and I work together, we have to collaborate in the ways that we want to set up our classroom so that there's equal access to all the students and there's a good flow of the students throughout the room. The focal point of our room is our mural that we do seasonally. Both classes contribute to that. They either draw the picture or they write the words, or sometimes we even write the words together.
Right, and it's all student generated. We want to ensure that the mural is is meaningful to them. It's not something we've come up with, but it's what they want to do and what they want to write. When the students come in the morning, they have a seat on the carpet. We usually begin our day here. This is where everybody comes together, whether it's during my class or her class or during crossover time. And then we begin our calendar each morning, and that starts our day, where we take attendance.
Right next to the calendar area is the name chart, which has their pictures on it. So it gives them meaning, and they're able to locate their friends, and we're able to do some word work within those names. And also right next to that is the word wall.
It's a very quiet area. For that reason, we have our library located there, where they can go and sit and read on their own, or maybe with a small group, but whatever it is, it's a very quiet area there. Beyond the library is our computer table. It allows them just the introduction to technology, so that's very important to us. And then beyond that, we can move on to our table area, where we have our centers and stations set up. And they are set up specifically so that groups are far away from each other, so that we may have cutting at one table, reading at one table, math at another table. And then what's most important to Rebecca and I is our guided reading table, which is farthest away from the 4 tables, because we want that area as quiet as possible.
Right.
So basically, the way we've set up our classroom, obviously, is to meet our students' needs and our needs. But I feel that any grade level can do the exact same thing. You, based on what your needs are, what your students are, can make your room the way you'd like it to be. I think we've created a wonderful environment for our students. They seem to enjoy coming to school, and they seem to understand where everything is when they come.
Definitely.
So,
it's their classroom.
exactly.
The classroom community is the student's home away from home. An effective and well-planned physical learning environment for the classroom is necessary for promoting student learning and success. An effective classroom environment reflects the personality of the entire classroom community and is best established with the students and teachers working together to create a space that is welcoming and conducive to learning. In building your community, design for safety and work with students to develop and share ownership.